What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you tonight with more Danmachi. And one of the things you guys continually ask me to recover from the old tutorials is about weapons. Basically how to get the best possible stats out of each weapon. I actually have the perfect situation to discuss this today because I have a weapon that I'm working on currently. Now, first of all, you want to pick your weapon, obviously, that you're going to craft. You're going to craft the weapon based on who you're using and stuff like that. If we go into crafting, you can actually quickly select your weapon. If you go to character equipment, it'll tell you who uses what. Obviously, Bell will use a couple different. Mikoto would literally use anything. But there's lots and lots and lots of different options. It's interesting to me, all the units that are just proficient with literally everything. It's hilarious. But pick your weapon, or if it's armor, pick your appropriate armor. That's a much smaller pool. Obviously, with some of these, like with Photos Camera or what's Forest Murmur, if we go to details, Forest Murmur is specifically for Elfie. So if you use this weapon on anybody but Elfie, you're missing that first critical 15. Other than that, that's kind of about it. Now, when you craft a weapon, you can get up to 3 of these different attributes. My favorite is really, like, obviously getting the most magic you can get for a magic unit, along with a second critical. Obviously, Dex and Agility each have their own boosts, and if it's a physical unit, getting physical instead of magic. So, let's go over here and talk about that, specifically what that means. We're going to go into Rehammer. We're going to go to Attributes. Now, Attributes are exactly what I was discussing right there. So if I go to the Kamale for... it's actually tied to... It's tied to Otarl at the moment, but it's for Kotori. That means that Kotarl is not getting that first critical 15. But you'll see I have Strength 10, a second critical 15, and Dex 30. Now, I would prefer to have the second Strength 30 on this. I think that's going to be better for me. It's not a game changer, but it definitely would be nice. The other factor is there, if I could get Dex or Agility instead of Strength 10, that wouldn't be bad either. But the stats here are so good, I really cannot justify spending the Bellows to rehammer that. That said, I've got a second Kamale. We'll go ahead and filter this down just by axe. I'm trying to get the second Kamale about on the level of this other one. There we go. Perfect. Alright. So this Kamale, I want to get to the same if not similar stats. So we got Strength 10 and Critical 15. That's it. So what I want to do is I want to shoot for something similar to what we had before. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick rehammer. Now, when you're doing attributes, if that goes rainbow, that means you're getting 3 attributes. Right now, we got 1. We got an Agility 30. Now, it is worth noting, this will cost you 5 Bellows per rehammer. It is fairly easy to get Bellows, but it is time-consuming. So, do this cautiously. You don't want to waste a huge amount of time doing this if you're not going to use the weapon. And honestly, with this Kamale, I'm only going to use for a test coming up, so I'm going to rehammer one more time and see what we get. So we're not getting 3. Dex 30, Strength 30. So I can make do with that. That's not the worst ever. I'm not getting my secondary critical, but that's fine. That'll be good for the test that I'm going to do. So I'm going to be good with that. All right. Now you can then right there, it's going to ask you to tie it to a unit. I'm not going to tie this one to a unit at the moment, but you'll notice that I'm only level 1. And my physical attack is 230. Now, I got really, really, really lucky on my physical attack there. So that's attributes. Basically, you just pick the right attributes you want. So if I go back in here one more time, let's just go ahead and pick a longsword. Perfect. Otarl's Demon Blade. If I go to details, that one has Strength 30, AGL 30, and Strength 10. Now, I would love to have a second critical in there, but it's not a game changer. And frankly, with what I've got here, I'm very, very happy. There's no need for me to redo the attributes on this. But if I go down here to Demon Chopper, I have Strength 10, Strength 30. That's also really good, but I'd love to have the second critical on there. So that you see as you start to pick and choose, say, what am I really looking for? And is it worth chasing those, because once you get a rainbow, it's hard to get another rainbow. So like with my Kameo and my Kingsblade, once you have a triple stat, you can actually rehammer it and lose your triple stat. So you need to choose wisely, very, very, very wisely. Attributes are difficult to pin down. So with Krazo, I've got 2 critical 15s and an AGL 30. It actually wouldn't be a bad idea to go for something more with him, but I have 10 Bellows, so I want to use those wisely. Now, status. Status is the one that's very controllable, though, once again, probably a little on the time-consuming side. But let's go ahead and take this back down to axes. So, oh, well, I can't, actually. So, the one thing that you will notice there is if it doesn't show an axe in the status page, that means, or doesn't show whatever item you're looking for in the status page, that means that it's maxed. So, if we go back in here to attributes, this Kameo is at physical attack 410, this one's at 230. Those are the max stats at that level. So, if I leveled this up to level 90, obviously I can't do that because I don't have enough materials to ascend one. 410 is the maximum stat that I would get on that. Okay. Also notice durability up there, but don't worry about that too much. You can just repair items and restore the durability. The main thing you're looking at is the physical, magic attack, or whatever attribute that those have. So if I look at Demon Chopper, my current it's a level 60, and my current physical attack is 346. So if we go back into status and I hit rehammer, it'll tell me that my current maximum could be 350. I'm going to be real though, being 4 shy of that isn't a deal breaker for me. So I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm not going to rehammer that. Grand Soul 272 to 299. I could chase it, but it's 5 secret hammers and I have enough to do 2. So I don't think that's a good use of my time and efforts. Now, Mikasa's gear, interesting one. Once again, 346, 350, not worth chasing. But if you, the further you go down here, like, okay, Desperate. I know Desperate could actually use some. So go to rehammer. It's at 323. It should be at 350. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a quick rehammer. Now, in this one, if this goes rainbow, you now are at max stats. So 337, and the maximum is 350, I believe. Yeah. So just rehammer it one more time. No rainbow, so we're not getting max stats. So the status, the main thing... Oof, and I hurt my stats. That's the one thing you want to be careful of. Is if your stats are high enough, you can actually harm your stats by doing these rehammerings over and over again. And it's incredibly random. It is entirely random. So this Desperate is actually a good example of one that I would definitely love to just rehammer over and over and over again until I get what I need out of it. Because currently... at 310 physical attack, that is not appropriate. I need to get up to 350 or close to that. And then if I go into attributes, where is it? It's down here a ways. It's tied to the 8-bit unit, and I don't know where it went. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. There it is. Okay. So attributes currently is critical 15, critical 15. I would love to get more strength out of that, but I don't use it enough, so I'm not going to do it at the moment. I really don't want to blow my Bellows. My Bellows are very, very, very precious. So you want to be extremely choosy about what you're going to modify with your Bellows, because they're not necessarily hard to come by, but they are very precious in the fact that it could take a while to get the stats you want. So you want to be extremely cautious with using your Bellows. Okay. Armor is exactly the same. Case in point, this breastplate, I could rehammer it. It's a 228. You can get it up to 231. That would be nice, but I don't think it's the end of the world. This one's 224. Let's find one that's really, really low. Let's see. Might not have one. Ah, here we go. Well, that's level 1. Level 40, level 60 breastplate. Okay, so this is defense 201. So I could rehammer this one. It's only 3 secret hammers to rehammer. So we could do way, 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 way better and 207. Still not enough. So, and now I'm out of secret hammers. But it would tell you what the minimum stats were, which I think 201 was the minimum stat, up to 250 being the max. You really want to aim for a rainbow and max on these. So I could go farm up some more secret hammers and continue to do that. Now, that is how you select max stats. When it comes to attributes, a lot of it is just picking the attributes you want out of this. So not everything's going to have the same attributes. If I go here to rehammer, this has endurance 20, dex 30, and guard rate 15%. You could go after a bunch of different stats, but I like agility and dex. Endurance and dex isn't bad. Agility and endurance probably would be your best, but you definitely want the 15% guard rate. Without that, it's kind of not great. So that's basically how you go after max stats. If you are ascending a weapon, if you're doing weapon ascension, and I will cover weapon ascension again in its own video shortly, you want to make sure that that weapon is absolutely perfect. If it is not, that's the one that you really want to pay attention to. So you'll notice that my Kingsblade I started to ascend, and Kamale is the one that is absolutely the closest to perfect. I spent a lot of time making sure that that weapon, in fact, it won't even show there. Let's go down here to rehammer and attributes. So Kamale, I spent a lot of time, it's level 90 currently. I spent a lot of time making sure that everything is perfect on here. It has perfect stats as far as the status goes. These attributes are very good, not quite perfect, but once you get triples like that, like I said, it's hard. It's a hard road to chase that any further. So, once again, pick, choose, and be wise about those decisions. But that's kind of it. It's really not that difficult. I spent about 12 minutes describing something that probably could take a lot less time, but I know it's something very confusing to people. So that's it. Just use your rehammer button here and go wild. That's the best thing to do. Obviously, you want to make sure that everything is leveled up as well. If you rehammer something to max stats, you obviously want then to upgrade that to level 60 or maybe even consider ascending it. If you do not, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. You really need to have a good... You basically need everything maximum upgraded if you're going to be spending all this time on rehammering. They work in conjunction with one another. Part of the reason that I chose Kamale to be my weapon ascended unit is because A, I have Katori MLB'd and I think she's an absolute beast. B, I had that weapon at absolutely almost exactly where I wanted it. Okay. Now, question number 2 in this is, what do you do when you run out of Bellows? Well, if you go into Boost here and you go to Crafting Quest, you can actually run any of these crafting quests. It's 1 stamina. It's not going to cost you really much of anything except time. And then obviously just grind the levels, grind the dungeon, and randomly, and I will emphasize randomly, it will drop items. It'll drop the items needed for for upgrading your units, Mystic Bellows and Secret Hammers. It is not a guaranteed drop, and it sometimes can take a while. I've been grinding on this for 20-30 minutes at a time and not gotten drops. I've grinded on this for 3 or 4 times and gotten 2 or 3 drops in a row, so it's extremely random. You want to be sure that you're spending your time wisely, but this is where you would get... We got a little shaky cam going on there. This is where you would actually get your Secret Hammers and your Mystic Bellows, so... Be very wise and very cautious, but also remember it is very farmable. So spend some time. We have Familia Wargame on right now, so it wouldn't be a bad time tonight and tomorrow before our big events drop to spend some of your stamina farming up the Mystic Bellows and the Secret Hammers. But that for now is going to be the video, guys. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. And if there's still some confusion, I can always redo this or describe it in more detail. But in my opinion, I don't think it's a very difficult thing. So Let me know if there's still confusion, guys. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be back at you guys with more Danmachi here in a little bit. We're going to talk about Ascension. I'm going to redo my Ascension video from a little while ago because, well, we now have a unit that's fully ascended, so we're going to talk about that. You saw that one in this video, and now we're going to test it.